The mahogany doors of Henderson Industries towered above little Emma Grace. As she stood in the marble lobby, her worn sneakers squeaking against the polished floor, 7 years old, with tangled blonde hair and determination burning in her green eyes, she clutched a crumpled dollar bill in her small fist. The security guard, Marcus, had tried to stop her 3 times already, but she'd slipped past him with the agility only desperation could provide. "Miss, you can't be here," Marcus called out, but Emma was already pressing the elevator button repeatedly, standing on her tiptoes to reach it properly when the doors opened, revealing CEO William Henderson himself. Emma didn't hesitate. She stepped forward, blocking the doors from closing. "Can you help me with a job? I need to buy milk for my 3-year-old brother," she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. William Henderson, 52 years old and accustomed to boardroom battles, froze, his gray eyes, usually cold and calculating, widened at the sight of this tiny girl in a faded pink dress to sizes too small. Security, his assistant, Jennifer, called from behind him. "Wait." William raised his hand, studying the child. Something in her eyes, a fierce protectiveness he recognized from somewhere deep in his past, made him pause. "What's your name?" "Emma Grace Parker, sir, and I can work real hard. I can organize your pencils, or carry your briefcase, or—" her voice cracked slightly, "or anything. Danny needs his milk. He cries when he's hungry." William felt an unexpected tightness in his chest. "Where are your parents?" "Emma, Mama's at the hospital. She's been there for 2 weeks. Daddy." Emma's chin trembled for just a moment before she lifted it higher. "Daddy went to heaven last winter. The car accident on Highway 42. The elevator doors tried to close, but William stepped out, kneeling to Emma's level. His Italian suit, worth more than most people's monthly rent, pressed against the cold marble floor. "You walked here alone. It's only 6 blocks from the shelter," Emma said matter-of-factly. "I counted, and I looked both ways at every street. I promise." Jennifer gasped. "Mr. Henderson, we should call child services." "Jennifer, cancel my 3 o'clock, William said, never taking his eyes off Emma. "Emma, how about we make a deal? I'll buy the milk for Danny, and you can tell me more about this job you want." Emma's eyes narrowed suspiciously. "I don't take charity, Mr. Henderson. Mama says we work for what we need. That's why I need a job." William felt something shift inside him. A door he kept locked for 30 years creaking open. "Then how about this? You can help me with something very important. I need someone to test our new children's products. It's a real job. We'll start with the milk as an advance on your first paycheck." "You mean it?" Emma's tough facade cracked, revealing the scared little girl beneath. "Cross your heart." William crossed his heart solemnly. "Cross my heart, Emma Grace." As Marcus, the security guard, watched in amazement, the most powerful man in the city walked hand in hand with a 7-year-old girl toward the executive conference room. Neither of them knew that this moment would change both their lives forever. "Mr. Henderson," Emma asked as they walked, "do you have a brother?" William's step faltered for just a moment. "I did once, a long time ago." "Did you buy him milk too?" "No," William said quietly, his voice thick with an old pain. "No, Emma, I didn't. But I should have." The executive conference room had never hosted such an unusual meeting. Emma sat in a leather chair that swallowed her small frame, her feet dangling far above the floor. Across from her, William Henderson found himself more nervous than he'd been closing his first $1 million deal. "So, Emma," he began, sliding a glass of water across the table to her, "tell me about Danny." Emma's face lit up. "He's the best baby brother in the whole world. He likes it when I sing Twinkle, Twinkle, and he laughs when I make funny faces. But he's been crying more since Mama went to the hospital." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Sometimes I give him my food, but I'm not very good at cooking. You've been taking care of him alone." William tried to keep the alarm out of his voice. "Mrs. Chan from the shelter helps sometimes, but she has lots of other kids to watch. I'm real careful, Mr. Henderson. I know how to change diapers and everything." Emma straightened proudly. "Mama taught me before she got sick." Jennifer knocked and entered with a tray, milk, sandwiches, fruit, and cookies. Emma's eyes widened, but she didn't reach for anything. "Go ahead," William encouraged. "This is a working lunch. All employees eat during meetings." Emma carefully took half a sandwich, wrapping the other half in a napkin. "For Danny," she explained. "He likes peanut butter." William watched her, remembering. Another child, who used to save half his food, his brother Charlie, always making sure William had enough to eat in their foster home, even when it meant going hungry himself. Emma, what happened to your mother? Why is she in the hospital? The doctors use big words I don't understand. But she sleeps a lot, and there are machines that beep. She had surgery on her head. Emma's lower lip trembled. They said something about a tumor. Is that bad, Mr. Henderson? William's hands clenched under the table. A brain tumor. His own mother had died from one when he was 15, leaving him and Charlie to navigate the foster system alone. Your mother. What's her name? Sarah Parker. She's the best mama in the world. She used to work at the grocery store, but then she started getting the headaches. William pulled out his phone, texting his assistant. Get me Dr. Morrison at Presbyterian Hospital. Now, Emma, I want to help your mother too. Would that be okay? Emma studied him with those two wise green eyes. Why would you do that? Rich people don't usually help people like us. That's what Mama says. Because, William paused, choosing his words carefully. Because sometimes people need help, and if we can give it, we should. And because you remind me of someone I knew once. Who? Myself, William admitted. When I was just a little older than you, I had to take care of my younger brother too. After our mother died, Emma leaned forward. What happened to him? Your brother? William's throat constricted. That's a story for another day, right now. Let's focus on helping Danny and your mother. A knock interrupted them. Dr. Morrison was on the phone. William stepped away to take the call, watching Emma through the glass as she carefully ate her sandwich, saving every crumb that fell. Sarah Parker, yes. Dr. Morrison's voice crackled through the phone. Stage 3 glioblastoma. She's been refusing treatment because she can't afford it and has no one to care for her children. We've been trying to convince her. Send me the bills. William interrupted. All of them, past and future, and get her the best neurosurgeon. You have. Mr. Henderson, the surgery alone could cost. I don't care. Do it. When he returned to the conference room, Emma had fallen asleep in the big chair, still clutching the wrapped sandwich for Danny. Her small face, peaceful in sleep, made her look even younger than her 7 years. William carefully lifted her, surprised by how light she was. As her head rested against his shoulder, she mumbled, Danny needs his milk. He'll get it, Emma, William whispered. I promise. But as he carried her to his car, intending to drive her back to the shelter, a chilling thought struck him. If Sarah didn't survive the surgery, what would happen to Emma and Danny? The foster system that had failed him and Charlie so spectacularly. His phone buzzed. Jennifer, sir, Child Services has been notified about the children. They're sending someone to the shelter tonight. William's blood ran cold. He looked down at the sleeping child in his arms, at the fierce love for her brother written in every line of her tiny face, even in sleep. No, he said aloud to the empty parking garage. Not again. I won't let it happen again. The Sunshine Family Shelter sat wedged between a liquor store and a check-cashing place on the wrong side of downtown. William's Bentley looked absurdly out of place as he pulled up, Emma stirring awake in the back seat. We're here, she said unnecessarily, already reaching for the door handle. Danny's probably hungry. Wait, Emma. William grabbed the grocery bags from the trunk. Not just milk, but formula, baby food, diapers, and everything else he could think of. Let me help you carry these. Emma led him through a narrow hallway that smelled of industrial disinfectant and despair. The walls were painted a cheerful yellow that couldn't quite mask the water stains beneath. They passed several doors until Emma stopped at room 12, fishing out a key tied around her neck with a frayed shoelace. The room was smaller than William's office bathroom, to narrow beds, a crib jammed in the corner, and a hot plate on a card table. But it was clean, meticulously so, with children's drawings taped to every wall and a mobile of paper stars hanging above the crib. Danny, Emma rushed to the crib where a small boy sat up, reaching for her with chubby arms. His face was tear-stained, but he smiled brilliantly when he saw his sister, Emma. Danny's vocabulary was limited, but his joy was unmistakable. William stood frozen in the doorway, watching Emma expertly check Danny's diaper, all while chattering to him about their day. The toddler's eyes, the same green as Emma's, tracked her every movement with absolute trust. This is Mr. Henderson. Danny. He helped us get milk. Emma lifted her brother out, and William noticed how practiced her movements were. Supporting his weight despite her small size, Danny regarded William solemnly, then reached out one small hand. Hi, Danny, William managed, his voice rough. The boy's tiny fingers wrapped around his thumb with surprising strength. A knock at the door made them all turn. Mrs. Chen, the elderly shelter coordinator, stood there with worry etched on her face. Emma, there's a lady here from the county. She says she needs to talk to you. William's stomach dropped. Behind Mrs. Chen stood a woman in a severe suit, holding a clipboard. Child Services, Emma Parker. The woman's voice was professionally kind but firm. I'm Ms. Rodriguez from Child Protective Services. We've received a report about children living here without proper supervision. Emma's arms tightened around Danny. We're fine. Mrs. Chen watches us, and Mama will be back soon. I understand, sweetie, but we need to make sure you and your brother are safe. I'll need you both to come with me. No, Emma backed away. Danny, beginning to whimper at his sister's distress. We're not going. Mama said to wait here for her. William stepped forward. Ms. Rodriguez, I'm William Henderson. Perhaps we could discuss this. The social worker's eyes narrowed. And you are a friend of the family. I've just arranged for their mother's medical treatment. Surely removing the children now would be premature. Mr. Henderson, I appreciate your concern. But these children have been essentially living alone. For 2 weeks, the mother is gravely ill and has no family listed as emergency contacts. We have a foster family ready. They'll be separated, William said. It wasn't a question. Ms. Rodriguez's silence was answer enough. No, Emma's scream was primal. She clutched Danny so tightly. He began to cry in earnest. You can't take him. I promised Mama I'd take care of him. William watched Emma's desperate face, and suddenly he was 11 again, watching men in suits pull 6-year-old Charlie away from him. He'll be better off with a younger family, they said. You'll see each other soon. They lied. He never saw Charlie again. What if there was another option? William heard himself say. What if I took responsibility for them? Everyone stared at him. You. Ms. Rodriguez's skepticism was plain. Are you a licensed foster parent? Have you had background checks, home studies? No, but then I'm afraid that's not possible. Emma, Danny, please come with me now. We don't want to make this harder than necessary. Emma ran, still carrying Danny. She darted past the social worker and down the hall, but there was nowhere to go in the shelter, nowhere to hide. William found her in a supply closet, curled around her brother, both children sobbing. Emma. He knelt beside them. Emma, listen to me. They took Jesse's little sister last month. Emma gasped between sobs. She never came back. They said they'd keep them together, but they lied. William's heart shattered. Emma, I need you to trust me. Can you do that? She looked at him with those 2 old eyes. Why? Because I'm going to fix this. But I need you to go with Ms. Rodriguez for now, just for tonight. You promise? Emma's voice was tiny. You promise you'll fix it? William thought of all the promises he'd broken in his rise to power, all the people he'd stepped over, all the connections he'd cut. But looking at these 2 children, he thought of Charlie, of the promise he'd made and failed to keep. I promise, Emma, on my brother's memory, I promise. Emma studied his face for a long moment. Then she stood, adjusting Danny on her hip. Okay, but if you break your promise, Mr. Henderson, I'll never forgive you. As William watched Ms. Rodriguez lead the children away, Emma walking with her chin high and Danny's face buried in her shoulder, he pulled out his phone. Jennifer, give me Harrison Michaels, his personal attorney. Tell him I don't care what he's doing. I need him now. And Jennifer, clear my calendar for tomorrow. All of it. Sir, you have the Tokyo merger. Clear it. William repeated. I'd have something more important to do. He looked around the small, pathetic room that had been Emma and Danny's home. On the bedside table sat a photograph, a happier time with a healthy Sarah Parker hugging her children, all 3 smiling in a park somewhere. William picked up the photo, noting Emma's gap-toothed grin and Danny's baby giggle frozen in time. I failed you once, Charlie, he whispered to the empty room. I won't fail them. At 3 a.m., William's penthouse looked like a war room. Papers covered every surface. 3 laptops glowed with different legal databases, and his team of lawyers looked haggard. Harrison Michaels, senior partner at Michaels, Crawford and Associates, pushed his glasses up his nose for the 100th time. William, what you're asking is virtually impossible. The foster system doesn't work this way. You can't just I don't want to hear can't, William snapped, pacing past floor-to-ceiling windows that showcased the glittering city below. I want solutions. Okay, let's review the options again. Harrison pulled up another document. Standard foster care application takes months. Background checks, home studies, training courses. The children don't have months. They could be separated by tomorrow. Emergency kinship care requires you to be related. Next, temporary guardianship requires the mother's consent, and she's currently unconscious from surgery. William's phone buzzed. Dr. Morrison, surgery complete. Touch and go for the next 48 hours. What about if I petition for emergency custody? Based on the mother's inability to provide care and my existing relationship with the children? Harrison raised an eyebrow. What existing relationship? You met them today. I'm their employer. William said, Emma works for me. She's 7 years old. She's a product tester for our new children's line. I have the employment contract right here. William produced a hastily drawn document. Completely legal. This is insane. But Harrison was already calculating. We need a judge who's sympathetic, someone who'd be willing to grant an emergency hearing. Judge Catherine Walsh, another lawyer, spoke up. She's known for unconventional decisions in the best interests of children. As she owes you a favor from the Riverside Hospital donation, William nodded. Get her on the phone. It's 3 a.m., then wake her up. As his team worked, William found himself at his home office window, staring at his reflection. When had he become this man? Ruthless in business, alone in life, surrounded by things instead of people. The penthouse felt cavernous and cold. Nothing like the cramped warmth of Emma and Danny's shelter room. His phone rang. An unknown number. Mr. Henderson, a small voice whispered. Emma. William's heart jumped. How did you? I remembered your company number from the building. I asked the foster lady to let me call. She's not mean, but they're putting Danny in a different home tomorrow. He's too young for where I'm going. William could hear her trying not to cry. Emma, where are you? Some office building. They gave us blankets, but Danny won't stop crying. He doesn't understand why Mama's not here. Mr. Henderson, you promised. I know. Sweetheart, I'm working on it right now. I have lawyers. I don't need lawyers. Emma's whisper turned fierce. I need my brother. He's scared and he keeps calling for me, and they won't let me hold him. In the background, William could hear a toddler's wails. The sound cut through him like a blade. Emma, listen to me. By tomorrow afternoon, you'll be together again. Both of you. I swear it. That's what Daddy said before he left for work that day, Emma whispered. He promised he'd be home for dinner. William closed his eyes. I'm not going anywhere, Emma, and neither are you and Danny. Try to sleep, okay? Tomorrow will be better. Danny likes his milk warm, Emma said suddenly, and he needs his teddy bear. It's under his crib at the shelter, and he's scared of the dark, so someone needs to leave a light on, and I'll remember everything. William promised. Every single thing. The line went dead. William stared at his phone, then at Harrison, who'd been listening. We're going to need more than legal maneuvering, Harrison said quietly. Judge Walsh will want to know why you're doing this. Why a confirmed bachelor billionaire suddenly wants to take into traumatized children. William walked to his desk, opening a drawer he hadn't touched in years. Inside lay a faded photograph, two boys, brothers, standing in front of a foster home. The older one, 11-year-old William, had his arm protectively around 6-year-old Charlie, because 35 years ago, I let the system take my brother. I was too young, too powerless to stop it. He set the photo on the desk. They promised we'd see each other. They promised he'd be okay. I found out last year that Charlie died when he was 9. Alone, in a foster home 3 states away. The room fell silent. I've spent 35 years building an empire, William continued, telling myself that power and money could fill the hole Charlie left behind. But tonight, a 7-year-old girl looked at me the way I used to look at him, desperate to protect the only family she has left. Harrison picked up the photograph, studied it. This won't be easy, William. These children have trauma. They'll need stability, therapy, time. They'll have whatever they need. And what about your life? Your business trips, the mergers, I'll figure it out. William's voice was steel. I'm not losing another Charlie. Not on my watch. Harrison nodded slowly. Then let's wake up a judge. As dawn broke over the city, William stood in what would need to become a children's bedroom. Mentally cataloging changes. The sleek, modern penthouse would need childproofing, toys, color, warmth, life. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Somehow from Emma again. Danny finally fell asleep. I sang him your song. My song? William texted back. The one you hummed in the elevator. About sunshine. Danny likes it. William froze. He'd been humming You Are My Sunshine, the song his mother used to sing. The song he'd sung to Charlie in the dark when thunderstorms scared him. He hadn't realized he'd been humming it at all. The courthouse at 9 a.m. was already bustling, but Judge Catherine Walsh had cleared her morning docket for an emergency hearing. William sat at the petitioner's table, Harrison beside him, trying not to fidget with his tie. Across the aisle, Ms. Rodriguez from Child Services looked skeptical, her supervisor beside her. This is highly irregular, Judge Walsh began, reviewing the files. Mr. Henderson, you're asking me to grant you emergency temporary custody of the minor children you met yesterday? Yes, Your Honor. And you're arguing that this placement would be in the children's best interest because, Harrison, because Mr. Henderson can provide immediate stability, keep the siblings together, and has already arranged for the mother's medical care. The children know and trust him. The 7-year-old knows him. Ms. Rodriguez interrupted. For less than 24 hours, Judge Walsh raised a hand for silence. I'd like to hear from Mr. Henderson directly. Sir, why should I entrust these vulnerable children to you? William stood slowly. For the first time in decades, he had no prepared speech, no PowerPoint, no strategy except the truth. Your Honor, when I was 11 years old, my mother died. My brother Charlie was 6. The system promised we'd stay together, but within a week, we were separated. I was too old, too angry, too difficult. Charlie was young, adoptable, easy to place. The courtroom was silent. I spent the next 7 years in 5 different foster homes. I aged out at 18 and spent every cent I had trying to find Charlie. When I finally did, I learned he died 2 years earlier. Pneumonia, they said, but I know the truth. He died of a broken heart, alone and scared, wondering why his big brother never came for him. William pulled out the photograph of him and Charlie. I built my company on the promise that I'd never be powerless again, but yesterday, a 7-year-old girl showed me that all my power means nothing if I don't use it to help. Emma and Danny need to stay together, Your Honor. They need someone who understands that the only thing worse than losing your parents is losing each other too. Judge Walsh studied him over her glasses. Ms. Rodriguez, what's the current placement plan? We have a family willing to take Emma, Your Honor. Danny would go to a different home that specializes in toddlers. Both good families, but not together. The judge finished. Mr. Henderson, you're a single man with no experience raising children. Your lifestyle is hardly conducive to child rearing. I'll change it, just like that. Your Honor, I've negotiated billion-dollar deals, navigated international mergers, and built a company from nothing. I think I can figure out bedtime stories and school lunches. A small smile played at the judge's lips. What about when it's 3 a.m. and the baby is screaming? When a 7-year-old has nightmares about losing her mother? When you have to miss important meetings for school plays? Then I'll be there at 3 a.m. I'll hold her through the nightmares, and I'll be front row at every school play, Your Honor. Ms. Rodriguez interjected. While Mr. Henderson's intentions may be good, we have protocols that would separate siblings, Judge Walsh said sharply. Tell me, Ms. Rodriguez, in your professional opinion, is keeping these children together important? The social worker shifted uncomfortably. Yes, but can your system guarantee they'll remain together? Not guarantee. No, Judge. Walsh turned back to William. Mr. Henderson, I'm inclined to grant a 30-day emergency custody order with conditions. You'll undergo immediate foster parent training, weekly check-ins with child services, a home study within 2 weeks. Any sign that this arrangement isn't working, and we revisit. Understood, Your Honor. And Mr. Henderson, this isn't a business deal you can back out of if it gets difficult. These children have lost enough. If you take this on, you'd better be prepared to see it through. I am, Your Honor. Then God help you. Judge Walsh signed the order. Emergency custody is granted. Ms. Rodriguez, please arrange for the children to be transferred to Mr. Henderson's care immediately. As they left the courthouse, Harrison clapped William on the shoulder. You realize what you've just done? Probably the first decent thing in 20 years, William replied an hour later. William stood outside a nondescript government building, his hands surprisingly shaky. Through the glass doors, he could see Emma sitting in a plastic chair, Danny in her lap. Both children looked exhausted, scared, and far too small. When Emma saw him, her face transformed. She leaped up, still holding Danny, and ran to the door as a caseworker opened it. "You came," she said, as if she hadn't quite believed he would. "I promised, didn't I?" William knelt down. "Hi, Danny. Remember me?" Danny studied him with solemn green eyes, then reached out and patted William's cheek. "Milkman," he pronounced. Emma giggled, the first truly childlike sound William had heard from her. "He's been calling you that all morning." "Well then, Milkman it is." William stood, looking at the caseworker. "Their things to garbage bags." The woman said apologetically, "That's all they had at the shelter." William felt a fresh wave of anger at a world that gave children garbage bags for their possessions. "That's okay. We'll get new things, Emma." "Danny, are you ready to come home with me?" Emma bit her lip. "For how long?" The question broke his heart. "For as long as you need me," he said carefully. "We'll take it one day at a time, okay?" "Okay." Emma adjusted Danny on her hip. "But Mr. Henderson, Danny's going to need lunch soon, and he only likes the dinosaur-shaped chicken nuggets, not the regular ones. And he needs a nap at 1:30 or he gets cranky." And Emma, William gently interrupted, "We'll figure it all out together. You don't have to carry everything alone anymore." Emma's eyes filled with tears she'd been holding back for weeks. "Promise, promise." As William led them to his car, Danny babbling about Milkman and Emma listing every single thing her brother needed, he realized his life had just completely changed. The penthouse was too quiet, too clean, to everything for children. William realized this the moment Emma walked in, Danny on her hip. Both children wide-eyed at the vast space. "It's bigger than the whole shelter," Emma whispered. Danny squirmed to get down, and the moment his feet touched the white marble floor, he was off like a shot, tiny legs pumping as he ran toward the floor-to-ceiling windows. "Danny, no." Emma sprinted after him, but William was already moving, scooping up the toddler just before he could press his face against the glass. "Hold there, buddy. Let's maybe explore a little slower." Danny giggled, patting William's face. "Up high, Mr. Henderson, I'm sorry." He's just excited, and Emma was already in caretaker mode. "Emma, it's fine. This is his home now too. He can run." William adjusted Danny in his arms. "Though we might need to get some gates for these windows." Emma relaxed marginally. Where will we sleep?" William had prepared for this. "Let me show you." He led them down the hallway to the guest wing. "I thought you might want rooms next to each other." He opened the first door to reveal what had been a sterile guest room, now hastily transformed with a twin bed, pink bedding, and a few toys he'd had Jennifer rush by that morning. Emma's eyes went wide. This is just for me, all yours." She walked in slowly, touching everything like it might disappear. "It's bigger than our whole room at the shelter." The next room was Danny's, a crib, changing table, and more toys than the toddler had probably ever seen. Danny immediately wiggled to get down, making a beeline for a large stuffed elephant. "Elephant," he announced, hugging it. "He loves elephants," Emma explained. "Mama used to make trumpet sounds and pretend to be one." The mention of their mother cast a shadow. William knelt beside Emma. "Speaking of your mom, I have good news. Her surgery went well. She's sleeping now, but the doctors think she'll wake up soon." Emma's composure finally cracked. She threw her arms around William's neck, sobbing into his shoulder. "Really? She's gonna be okay? The doctors are optimistic." William awkwardly patted her back, unprepared for the fierce hug. "We can visit her tomorrow if you'd like." "Yes." "Danny, did you hear? Mama's getting better." Danny looked up from his elephant. "Mama, she's sleeping, baby, but she's getting better." Emma wiped her eyes, embarrassed. "Sorry, I got your suit wet." "It's just a suit, Emma." The rest of the morning was a whirlwind William was completely unprepared for. Danny needed a diaper change. William had never changed a diaper in his life. Then lunch, which Emma insisted on helping make, teaching him how Danny liked his sandwich, cut in triangles, not squares. Then Danny's nap, which required a specific routine of milk, story, and Emma singing. While Danny slept, Emma sat at William's massive dining table, coloring with the supplies Jennifer had bought. William tried to work on his laptop, but found himself watching her instead. "Mr. Henderson." Emma didn't look up from her drawing. "Why don't you have any kids?" The question caught him off guard. I never married. Why not? I was busy building my company. I thought that was more important. Emma considered this. Was it? William looked around his pristine penthouse, thought of all the nights he'd spent here alone with his spreadsheets and contracts. No, I don't think it was. My teacher says it's never too late to change. Emma held up her drawing. 3 stick figures holding hands. That's you, me, and Danny. William's throat tightened. It's beautiful. You can put it on your refrigerator. That's what Mama does with my pictures. William immediately stood and magneted the drawing to his Sub-Zero refrigerator, probably the first child's drawing it had ever held. Danny woke from his nap cranky, and nothing William did seem to help. Emma took over with practiced ease, knowing exactly how to soothe him. William watched her. This 7-year-old who'd been forced to grow up too fast and made a decision. Emma, I want to hire someone to help us. Someone who knows about taking care of children. Emma's face shuddered. You're sending us away already. No, Emma. I mean someone to help while I learn. Like a teacher for me. Because I don't know how to take care of children, but I want to learn. Oh, Emma relaxed. That's okay. I can teach you. I know everything about Danny. I know you do. But Emma, you're 7. You shouldn't have to know everything. You should get to be a kid too. Emma looked confused, like the concept was foreign. But who will take care of Danny? We will. Together. But you'll also get to play, go to school, have friends. I had a friend once, before Daddy died. Her name was Chloe. Emma's voice was wistful. We used to play princesses that evening, as William attempted to give Danny a bath, resulting in more water on him than the toddler. His phone rang. The Tokyo merger team. Furious about the canceled meeting. Henderson, what the hell? We've been prepping for months. Reschedule it, William said, holding the phone with his shoulder while Danny splashed enthusiastically. Reschedule? The Japanese won't. Then we lose the deal. William ended the call, focusing on Danny, who was now blowing bubbles. Emma appeared in the doorway with Danny's pajamas. Was that important? William looked at her worried face, at Danny's happy splashing, at the chaos that had invaded his orderly life. No, this is important. Later, after both children were asleep, a process that took 2 hours, 3 stories, and 5 glasses of water, William stood in his living room surveying the damage. Toys scattered everywhere, crackers ground into his Persian rug, tiny handprints on his windows. Harrison called. How's the first day going? William looked at Emma's drawing on the refrigerator. Listened to the soft breathing from the baby monitor he'd figured out how to use. I'm in completely over my head. Want to back out? We could probably. No. William's voice was firm. No backing out. These kids, Harrison, they've been taking care of each other with nothing. The least I can do is take care of them with everything. Sarah Parker woke up an hour ago, Harrison said. She's asking for her children. William's stomach nodded. What did the doctors tell her? That her children are safe. That's all for now. But William, what happens when she recovers? This is temporary custody. She'll want them back. William looked toward the hallway where Emma and Danny slept. Then we make sure she has something to come back to. A home, a job, whatever she needs. And if she doesn't want your help, if she just wants her kids back and you gone. William didn't answer because he couldn't. In one day, these children had already burrowed into his heart. The thought of losing them. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, he said finally. But as he stood in his too big penthouse, surrounded by the beautiful chaos the small children had created, William knew the truth. He was already into deep to let go. 3 weeks had passed since Emma and Danny moved in, and William's penthouse had transformed into something unrecognizable. Baby gates blocked the stairs, colorful drawings covered the refrigerator, and toys seemed to multiply overnight despite his best efforts to contain them. This morning, William woke to find Danny standing beside his bed, elephant tucked under one arm, staring at him with those serious green eyes. Milkman wake, Danny announced, then climbed up without invitation, settling against William's chest. Story. It had become their routine. Danny would wake at dawn, toddle to William's room, and demand a story. William had gone from knowing 0 children's books to having Goodnight Moon memorized. Where's Emma? William asked, noting the older sister's absence. Emma asleep. Danny ventured. William chuckled, pulling the toddler close. 3 weeks ago, he'd have been horrified at the thought of a child in his bed. Now, Danny's warm weight felt natural, Right even. All right, buddy. What story today? Charlie's story. William's heart clenched. He'd made the mistake of telling the children about his brother one night, and Danny had latched onto the stories with fierce interest. Charlie was brave like you, William began, the familiar ache spreading through his chest. One time, when I was scared of the thunderstorm, Charlie built us a fort out of blankets. By the time Emma appeared, rubbing sleepy eyes, William had told the Charlie stories and Danny was demanding more. Morning, Mr. Henderson. Sorry Danny woke you up again. Emma climbed onto the bed too, a habit that had started after her first nightmare. It's fine. And Emma, we talked about this. You can call me William. Emma shook her head. Mama says to be respectful to adults. The mention of their mother brought reality crashing back. Sarah Parker had been awake for 2 weeks now, getting stronger every day and asking for her children with increasing desperation. Speaking of your mama, William said carefully, the doctors say she's well enough for a longer visit today. Would you like to see her? Yes, both children shouted in unison. The Presbyterian Hospital's neurology ward had become familiar territory. William carried Danny while Emma walked beside him, practically vibrating with excitement. They'd visited Sarah several times, but always with strict time limits due to her condition. Today was different. Today, Sarah was sitting up in bed, her head bandaged but her eyes clear. When she saw her children, tears streamed down her face. My babies, Emma flew into her arms, careful of the 4 lines. Danny squirmed in William's hold, reaching for his mother. Mama, Mama. William placed Danny gently on the bed, then stepped back, giving them space. He watched Sarah hold her children, checking them over, raining kisses on their heads. You've gotten so big, Danny and Emma. Sweetheart, you look healthy. Sarah's eyes found William over Emma's head. Mr. Henderson, Miss Parker. William nodded. I'll give you some privacy. No, please stay. Sarah's voice was firm despite her weakness. We need to talk. Emma was chattering about everything. Their new rooms, the toys, how William let them have ice cream on Fridays. Danny just clung to his mother, babbling happily. Emma, honey, why don't you take Danny to see the fish tank down the hall? Sarah suggested. The nurses said it's okay. Emma looked between the adults, too perceptive for her age. Are you gonna talk about us? Yes, baby, but good things, I promise. After the children left, Sarah turned to William. She was younger than he'd expected, maybe early 30s, with the same green eyes as her children, but lined with exhaustion and pain. The nurses told me everything, she began. How you got custody, paid for my treatment, took care of my babies when I couldn't. Her voice broke. I don't understand why. William sat in the visitor's chair. Your daughter is very persuasive. She came to my office demanding a job to buy milk for Danny. A watery laugh escaped Sarah. That sounds like Emma. She's been trying to be the adult since David died. Her face crumpled. I failed them. I couldn't even stay conscious long enough to arrange proper care. You didn't fail anyone. You were sick. I'm their mother. I should have. She wiped her eyes. The doctors say I'll need months of recovery, radiation, chemotherapy. I won't be able to work or care for them properly. Miss Parker, Sarah, your children are welcome in my home for as long as needed. No conditions, no expectations. Sarah studied him. Why really, why? Rich men don't just take in strange children out of kindness. William was quiet for a long moment. Then he told her about Charlie, about the promise he'd broken, about finding Emma and seeing a chance at redemption. So you see, he finished. I'm not doing this just for them. I'm doing it for the brother I failed to save. Sarah was crying again, but softer now. They talk about you constantly. William this and William that. Danny calls you milkman like you're some superhero. They're good kids. They're my whole world. Sarah's voice turned fierce, and I need to know. I need to know you won't abandon them when this gets hard, when the novelty wears off. It's already hard, William admitted. Danny had the flu last week. I didn't sleep for 3 days. Emma had a meltdown because I bought the wrong brand of peanut butter. I've missed for major deals, and my board thinks I've lost my mind. And I wouldn't change a thing. Sarah nodded slowly. The social worker. She says you want to help beyond just custody. That you mentioned a job, a place to live when I'm better. Only if you want. No strings. I was a grocery clerk. Mr. Henderson, I have a GED and 2 kids. What could I possibly offer your company? You raised the incredible children while working minimum wage. You battled cancer while keeping them fed and safe as long as you could. I'd say that shows more strength and management skills than half my executives." Before Sarah could respond, the children burst back in, Emma dragging a resistant Danny. "Mama, the fish tank has a shark, a tiny shark," Emma announced. "Shark's scary," Danny added, burying his face in his mother's shoulder. "It's not scary, baby. Sharks in tanks are friendly," Sarah soothed, but William noticed how her energy was flagging. "We should go," William said gently. "Let your mama rest." "No," both children protested. Sarah kissed each child. "Mr. Henderson's right, but I'll see you again soon, and when I'm all better, we'll all go home together." Emma's face fell. But I like William's house. It has my room and Danny's elephant." An awkward silence fell. William saw the hurt flash across Sarah's face. "Of course you'll come home with Mama." Emma self-corrected quickly. "That's what we wanted." As they left, Danny asleep in William's arms and Emma unusually quiet, William felt the first real fear since taking them in. Not fear of responsibility or failure, but fear of loss. 3 weeks. And already he couldn't imagine his life without Danny's morning invasions or Emma's careful attempts to take care of everyone. Emma's small voice broke into his thoughts. "When Mama gets better, can we still visit you sometimes?" William's throat tightened. "Of course, sweetheart, anytime you want." But as they drove home, he wondered if sometimes would be enough. If weekend visits could fill the Danny and Emma-shaped hole that would be left in his life. That night, after the children were asleep, William found himself in Danny's room, watching the toddler sleep with his elephant clutched tight. The night light cast soft shadows, and the room smelled like baby shampoo and innocence. His phone buzzed. "Harrison, Sarah's doctors want to discuss long-term care plans. She has no insurance, no savings. The bills are mounting." William typed back, "Cover everything. Set up a trust for the kids' education too." "William, you can't fix everything with money." But Harrison was wrong. Money couldn't fix everything, but it could buy time. Time for Sarah to heal. Time for the children to feel secure. Time for William to figure out how to let them go when the moment came. Danny stirred in his sleep, mumbling "milkman" and reaching out. William took the tiny hand, holding it gently. "I'm here, buddy," he whispered, "for as long as you need me, even if it broke his heart when they left." The nightmare came at 4:47 a.m. William had grown used to them. Emma's terror-filled screams that echoed through the penthouse. He was out of bed and halfway down the hall before fully awake. Muscle memory from 3 weeks of practice. "Emma, sweetheart, I'm here." He gathered her shaking form into his arms. "You're safe. It was just a dream." "The car," she sobbed into his shoulder. "Daddy's car was on fire and I couldn't get him out and Danny was crying in SHH. It's okay. You're in my house, remember? Danny's safe in his room. Check, please check." William carried her to Danny's room where the toddler slept peacefully, thumb in his mouth and elephant under his arm. Emma's breathing slowly calmed at the sight of her brother. "See, he's fine. Can I stay with you tonight?" Emma whispered. "I promise I'll be quiet." This had become routine. William carried her to his room, settling her on what had unofficially become Emma's side of his king-size bed. She curled up immediately, still trembling. "Same dream?" he asked softly. Emma nodded. "Sometimes it changes. Sometimes it's Mama, who doesn't wake up. Sometimes it's you, me. You leave for work and don't come back. Like Daddy." Her voice was matter-of-fact, which made it worse. "Everyone leaves eventually." William's chest ached. "Emma, I'm not going anywhere. That's what grown-ups always say." He couldn't argue with her logic. Her father had left for work and died. Her mother had left for the hospital and almost didn't return. In Emma's experience, love meant loss. "Tell me about your daddy," William said instead. "What was he like?" Emma's face softened. "He was funny. He did voices when he read stories. And he could juggle. He taught me, but I can only do the balls." She was quiet for a moment. "He called me his princess warrior. Princess warrior. I like that. He said I was brave enough to fight dragons, but pretty enough to wear a crown." Emma yawned. "I miss him. I know. Sweetheart, do you miss Charlie?" The question, innocent and direct, hit William unexpectedly. "Every day. Does it ever stop hurting?" William pulled her closer. "It changes, becomes less sharp. But no, it never fully stops." They lay in comfortable silence until Emma spoke again. "William, What if Mama can't take care of us when she's better? What if she's sick forever? It was the question William had been dreading. The doctors were optimistic, but cautious. Brain tumors were unpredictable. Recovery wasn't guaranteed. Then you'll stay with me, he said simply, forever, as long as you need. Promise, I promise, Princess Warrior. Emma finally drifted off, but William stayed awake, staring at the ceiling. His phone showed 17 missed calls from Tokyo. The merger was falling apart without him. His board was in revolt. Stock prices were dipping. 6 months ago, it would have consumed him. Now, he deleted the messages without listening and pulled up a different number. Henderson, Dr. Morrison's groggy voice answered. It's 3 a.m. I need the truth about Sarah Parker's prognosis. A pause. We've been optimistic with her, but the tumor was aggressive. Even with successful surgery, the 5-year survival rate is maybe 30%. If she makes it through treatment, she'll need extensive support, physical therapy, occupational therapy, regular monitoring, and that's if she responds well to radiation. But she could recover fully. It's possible, not probable, but possible. William ended the call and looked at Emma sleeping beside him. 30%. He built his empire on better odds than that. The next morning brought chaos of a different kind. Danny had discovered the joy of saying no to everything. Danny, breakfast time. No. Let's get dressed. No, no, no. Emma watched from the breakfast table, amused. He's in his terrible twos. He's not even to yet. William protested, trying to wrestle a squirming Danny into his high chair. Early learner. Emma said proudly, like me. The doorbell rang, unexpected. William's security usually called up visitors. Jennifer stood at the door, his assistant looking unusually flustered. Behind her was a woman in her 50s, silver-haired and sharp-eyed. Mr. Henderson. I tried to stop her, but, William, the woman stepped forward. I'm Margaret Blackwood from the board. We need to talk. William glanced back at the kitchen, where Emma was now feeding Danny, making airplane noises. This isn't a good time. I can see that. Margaret's eyes took in the chaos, toys, scattered Cheerios. William in pajama bottoms and a stained t-shirt. This is exactly what we need to discuss. 5 minutes, William said. Jennifer, could you watch the kids? In his home office, Margaret didn't waste time. You missed every major meeting for 3 weeks. The Tokyo deal is dead. Shanghai is threatening to pull out. And now I hear you're playing house with some street children. They're not street children, William said coldly. And my personal life isn't board business. It is when it affects the company. William, we've been friends for 15 years. I backed you when everyone said you were too young to be CEO. But this, she gestured toward the door, this is insanity. The company is stable. The company is drifting. You built Henderson Industries on being ruthless, focused, always 10 steps ahead. Now you're changing diapers. Yes, William said simply. I am. Margaret stared at him. I don't understand. Is this some midlife crisis? There are therapists. It's not a crisis. Margaret, it's a choice. Those children need me. The company needs you. The company needs leadership. I can provide that and still care for Emma and Danny. Can you? Because from where I'm sitting, you're failing at both. The words stung because they held truth. William was struggling to balance everything. But the thought of choosing, of prioritizing the company over those 2 children, then I'll find a better balance. But I'm not giving them up. Margaret's face softened slightly. William, I know about Charlie. I know you carry guilt. But you can't save these children by sacrificing everything you've built. Watch me. After she left, William found Jennifer in the living room, Danny on her lap while Emma showed her a drawing. I'm sorry, Mr. Henderson, Jennifer said. She threatened to go to your penthouse herself if I didn't bring her. It's fine. William took Danny, who immediately patted his face. Milkman said, No, buddy. Just thinking. Emma looked up from her drawing, too perceptive as always. Is it about work? Are we making you miss important things? Nothing more important than you two. But that night, after the children were asleep, William sat in his office staring at the numbers. The board was right. The company was suffering, not failing, but not thriving either. His absence was felt. He built Henderson Industries as his armor against powerlessness. Now, that same company threatened the very thing he was trying to protect. His phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. Thank you for today's visit. The kids were so happy. I'm trying to get better faster. I know this is hard on you. William typed back, take your time, focus on healing. We're doing fine. But as he looked at the financial reports, at the meetings he'd missed, at the opportunities slipping away, he wondered if fine was enough. Danny's voice echoed from the baby monitor, crying out in his sleep. William abandoned the reports, heading to comfort him. As he walked, he made a decision. The company had been his first child, built from nothing into an empire. But Emma and Danny were teaching him something the boardroom never had, that success meant nothing. If you had no one to share it with, Henderson Industries would survive. It might not grow as fast, might not dominate as completely, but William would rather be a mediocre CEO and a good father figure than a brilliant businessman who let down to more children. Margaret was wrong. This wasn't a sacrifice. It was an investment in the only thing that truly mattered, Mr. Henderson. Danny's being weird again. William looked up from his laptop to find Emma in his office doorway. Concern etched on her 7-year-old face. It had been 2 months since the children moved in, and William had learned to read Emma's worry levels. Weird how he won't play. He just sits there holding his elephant and rocks. William followed Emma to the living room where Danny sat in the corner, rocking slightly, his elephant clutched tight. The toddler's eyes were distant, unfocused. Hey, buddy. William knelt beside him. What's wrong? Danny didn't respond, just kept rocking. William felt his chest tighten. This had happened before. These moments where Danny seemed to retreat somewhere no one could reach. It's cause of the yelling, Emma said quietly. Mrs. Martinez was yelling at her phone in the elevator. Danny doesn't like yelling, of course. The trauma responses. Dr. Klein, the child psychologist, had warned him. Children who'd experienced loss and instability often develop coping mechanisms that seem strange to adults. William sat on the floor, not touching Danny, but close enough to offer comfort. It's okay, Danny. You're safe. No one's yelling here. 20 minutes later, Danny finally uncurled, crawling into William's lap with a shuddering sigh. Scary, he whispered. I know, buddy, but you're safe now. Emma sat beside them, automatically, stroking Danny's hair. He's getting better. Last month he did this for the whole hours. The matter-of-fact way she said it broke William's heart. No 7-year-old should be tracking her baby brother's trauma responses. That afternoon, Sarah called from the hospital. She completed her first round of radiation and was exhausted but hopeful. Can I talk to them? William put her on speaker. Mama. Danny's face lit up, his earlier distress forgotten. Hi, baby boy. Are you being good for Mr. William? Danny. Good. Danny have elephant. They chatted for a few minutes before Sarah asked to speak to William privately. Emma took Danny to play, but not before shooting William a worried look. The doctors say I could start outpatient treatment next week, Sarah said, but I'll need somewhere to stay. The shelter won't take me back with my medical needs. I've already arranged an apartment, William said. It's near the hospital, fully furnished, accessible. The rent's covered. Silence. Then, William, I can't keep taking. You're not taking. I'm investing in your recovery, in your children's future. There's a difference, is there? Because from where I'm sitting, it feels like charity. Sarah, your daughter marched into my office demanding work, not handouts. She gets that pride from somewhere. I'm not offering charity. I'm offering opportunity. What kind of opportunity? When you're better, I want you to run our new family support division. Henderson Industries is expanding benefits for employees with children. Who better to head it than someone who understands the struggles? You're creating a job for me? I'm creating a position we need and offering it to the most qualified person I know. Sarah was quiet for so long William thought the call had dropped. Then, why are you so good to us? Because your children saved me, William said simply. I just didn't know I needed saving. That evening brought a new challenge. Emma's school called. She'd been in a fight. William found her in the principal's office, chin high, a bruise forming on her cheek. His immediate instinct was rage. Who hurt her? But he forced calm. Mr. Henderson, Principal Davies, a stern woman in her 60s, looked disapproving. Emma punched another student. He said mean things. Emma burst out. He said I was trash 'cause I lived in a shelter. He said Danny and me were probably stolen. William's hands clenched. What 7-year-old says things like that? That doesn't excuse violence. Mr. Henderson, we have a zero-tolerance policy. Did you have zero tolerance when this boy was bullying her? Principal Davies shifted uncomfortably. We didn't know about any bullying. Because Emma didn't tell you. Because she's been taught to handle things herself. Because when you're 7 and caring for a baby brother, you don't have time to be a tattletale. Mr. Henderson, we're done here. William stood, holding out his hand to Emma. Come on, Princess Warrior. Let's go home. In the car, Emma was quiet. Then, are you mad? At you? No. At that boy, furious. I'm sorry I hit him. I'm not. William glanced at her in the rearview mirror. Sometimes, Emma, we have to stand up. For ourselves. I wish you told a teacher, but I understand why you didn't. Mama says violence is wrong. Your mama's right. But she also raised a daughter who protects what she loves. I'm proud of you. Emma's face crumpled. He said such mean things, William, about Mama being sick, about us not having a real home. He said people like us don't belong in nice schools. William pulled over, turning to face her. Emma, look at me. You belong anywhere you want to be. You're smart, brave, kind, and stronger than most adults I know. Don't let anyone tell you different. But what if Mama can't get better? What if we do end up back at the shelter? Then I'll buy the shelter and move in with you. A watery giggle escaped her. You can't buy a shelter. Watch me. When they got home, Danny ran to them, babbling excitedly about his day with Jennifer. He stopped when he saw Emma's face. Emma, I'm okay. Baby Emma hugged him. Just had a tough day. That night, William found himself in Margaret Blackwood's office. She'd called an emergency board meeting about his erratic behavior. This has to stop, William, she said, not unkindly. You adopted to traumatize children. Temporary custody. He corrected. Whatever you call it, you're in over your head. The company needs you focused. I am focused. You left a client dinner to deal with a school fight. Yes, I did, and I'd do it again. The board members exchanged glances. Thomas Chen, CFO, leaned forward. William, we're worried about you. This isn't like you. You're right, William said. The old me would have chosen the client dinner. The old me would have put profit over people every time. The old me was a bastard. A successful bastard, Margaret pointed out. Success. William laughed bitterly. I had everything. Money, power, respect, and I was empty. Completely, utterly empty. Then a 7-year-old girl walked into my office and showed me what real courage looks like. William, I'm not giving them up. Margaret, fire me if you want, but I'm not abandoning those children. We're not asking you to abandon them. We're asking you to find balance. I am balanced. For the first time in my life, I'm exactly where I need to be. The meeting ended at stalemate. William knew they couldn't fire him. He owned too much stock. But he also knew they were right about one thing. He needed help. That night, he made a decision that would have been unthinkable 3 months ago. Jennifer. He called his assistant. I need you to set up interviews. For what position? Cool. Someone who can run day-to-day operations while I focus on strategic decisions and family. Sir, are you sure? William looked toward the children's rooms where Emma and Danny slept safely. I've never been more sure of anything, as he worked late into the night, restructuring his life to accommodate both his company and his children. Danny's voice drifted from the baby monitor. Milkman. The toddler called out. William smiled, heading to Danny's room. I'm here, buddy. Love you, Milkman. William froze. It was the first time Danny had said those words. He lifted the sleepy toddler, holding him close. Love you too, Danny. And in that moment, every sacrifice, every missed meeting, every dollar spent was worth it. 10. The phone call came at 6 p.m. on Tuesday. William was helping Emma with homework while Danny colored enthusiastically. Mr. Henderson? Dr. Morrison's voice was careful. We need to discuss Sarah Parker's latest scans. William's stomach dropped. Emma, can you take Danny to wash his hands? Is it about Mama? Emma's perception remained sharp. Just grown-up talk. Go on. Once alone. William braced himself. How bad? The tumor is responding, but we've discovered secondary spots. Small, but concerning. What does that mean? Best case? Another year of aggressive treatment. Worst case? We should discuss preparing the children. No. William's voice was sharp. We're not giving up. After the call, William sat in his office, head in hands. How did you prepare children for possibly losing their only remaining parent? William, Emma stood in the doorway, Danny beside her. Is Mama okay? He forced a smile. She's fighting hard, princess warrior. Emma climbed into his lap. Danny followed, making it a pile on the office chair. If Mama goes to heaven like Daddy, Emma said quietly, will you keep us? Forever and always. William promised. Danny held up his paper, covered in scribbles. Family, that's beautiful. Buddy, is that us? Uh-huh. You and Emma and Danny and Mama and Elfin. The next morning, William found Emma in the kitchen at 5 a.m., mixing dish soap into pancake batter, making everything perfect for when Mama comes home. She explained. William gently took the bowl. Emma, you're 7. It's not your job to take care of everyone. But if I don't, who will? I will. That's what grown-ups do. Emma's face crumpled. What if you get tired of us? Mrs. Rodriguez said foster families sometimes send kids back. William pulled her close. You could burn down my kitchen and I'd never send you back. A crash from upstairs. They found Danny covered in expensive cologne. Danny smelled good. He announced. Emma gasped. That's William's special bottle. William laughed. It's okay. Danny's. Worth more than 1,000 bottles. That afternoon, Sarah called. They're releasing me tomorrow. William felt torn. The children deserved their mother. But the thought of them leaving. William, I've been thinking. Sarah's voice grew serious. If something happens to me, would you consider being their legal guardian? I'd have no one else. That evening, Danny grabbed William's face at bedtime. Milkman Daddy. William's heart stopped. Your daddy is in heaven, remember? I know. But Emma says sometimes people get new daddies. We asked Santa. It's July, buddy, early list. Later, Emma blushed when asked about Santa. Danny believes, and maybe wishes come true without Santa. Emma, if your mom asks me to be your guardian, say yes. Emma launched herself at him. Please. You'd want that. I love Mama, but I love you too. That's family, right? William called Harrison. Draw up the papers. Everything. Guardian designation. Education trusts. Medical directives. The next day, they picked up Sarah. She was thin, pale, but radiancy in her children. At the apartment, William shared his decision. I've thought about your request. I'm honored. Yes. Sarah's eyes filled. You don't know what this means. That evening, Danny had a meltdown when William tried to leave. No. Milkman, stay. This home, Milkman home here. Dinner became bedtime stories. Bedtime became William sleeping on the couch. At 3 a.m., Sarah found him awake. He's confused about the changes, she said. I'm confused too. William, what are we doing? This weird little family. I don't know. But it works, doesn't it? As dawn broke, William made a decision. Clear my calendar. He told Jennifer, I'm working from the Parker apartment. Family transition period, because sometimes love didn't follow conventional patterns. Sometimes it looked like a billionaire sleeping on a single mother's couch, making sure a toddler felt safe. And sometimes the best things in life came from a 7-year-old girl demanding a job. 3 months later, their unconventional family had found its rhythm. William spent days at his office, evenings at Sarah's. Weekends were split between locations, each outing precious as Sarah's energy fluctuated. Today was good. Central Park, July sun. Perfect picnic weather. Push higher, Danny squealed from the swing. William obliged, watching Sarah and Emma arrange their blanket. They developed silent communication, raised eyebrows asking need help, head shakes meaning I've got this. An hour later, they eat lunch together. Danny chocolate covered, Emma reading aloud, Sarah leaning against William's shoulder. To passersby, they looked like any other family. Mr. Henderson, Margaret Blackwood stood nearby, her grandson on the swings. Her eyes took in the scene with surprise. Margaret. William didn't move from supporting Sarah. Emma looked up protectively. William's helping us have family day. I see that. Margaret's expression softened. William talks about you at board meetings constantly. After she left, Sarah was quiet. Do you miss the old you? The one without chocolate handprints? William looked at Danny's artistic contribution. The old me had clean shirts and an empty life. I'll take the chocolate. That evening, Sarah collapsed on the couch, trembling. Emma went into crisis mode. I'll get your pills. Danny, get Mama's blanket. William scooped up Danny. Mama's tired, buddy. She played hard today. Later, Sarah whispered, I hate being weak in front of them. You're the strongest person I know. What happens when I can't even leave bed? What kind of mother? Stop. You're amazing. When you need help, you have it. That's wisdom. I signed the Guardian papers yesterday, she said suddenly. If something happens, nothing will happen. William, we both know that's not guaranteed. He nodded, throat tight. You saved my children's hearts. Show them love doesn't always leave. Tears flowed. If I go, I can go peacefully knowing they have you. Don't let them forget me, but also, don't let them stop living. If you meet someone, don't hold back because of my ghost. Sarah, promise me. I promise, but you'll be here. We'll argue about Danny's college choices. A crash interrupted. Danny stood and spilled juice. Mortified, Emma rushed over with paper towels. Danny, be careful. Mama doesn't need extra messes. It was an accident. William said gently, I'm here to help. Emma watched him oddly. Kevin's mom says you're not really our family, just helping because you feel sorry for us. What do you think? Kevin's mom is stupid. She doesn't know you sing Danny to sleep or learn to braid my hair or hold Mama when she cries. When have I, Sarah started Tuesday night and last Sunday, okay? Little spy, William interrupted. Point is, we're real family. Super real, Danny added, hugging William's leg. That night, Sarah had a bad reaction to treatment. Emma tried handling everything alone. Let me help, William insisted. Emma's facade cracked. What if she gets worse? What if? Then we handle it together. As he tucked Danny in, the toddler grabbed his hand. Stay. This home. Milkman home here. William looked around the small room. His penthouse was pristine, empty. You're right. He texted Jennifer. Send my laptop and clothes. Staying. At the Parkers. Family needs me, because home had shifted. It wasn't a place anymore. It was two children who trusted him and a brave woman fighting for life. Messy, complicated. Nothing like he planned. Perfect. 12 December 23rd arrived with snow and revelation. William woke on Sarah's couch to Danny's face inches away. Milkman. Snow. Emma appeared with coffee. Mama wants to talk to you in Sarah's room. The Christmas tree twinkled. Sarah looked fragile, but determined. The doctors called about my latest scans. William's heart plummeted. They're clear. Her smile was radiant. The tumors are shrinking, all of them. Dr. Morrison said miraculous. William sank onto the bed, overwhelmed. Sarah, that's incredible. I'm going to live. Watch my babies grow up. They were both crying when Emma and Danny burst in. Why sad? Danny climbed onto the bed. Happy tears, baby. Mama's getting better. William's phone rang. Harrison, I need to take this. He stepped out. Harrison. What's? Charlie's adoptive family reached out. William's blood froze. Charlie died 30 years ago. That's what records said. But William, he's alive. He's been looking for you. The world tilted. William gripped the wall. What? Clerical error. Records mixed up. He's in New York. Wants to meet. Sarah appeared, concerned. What's wrong? He handed her the phone. She listened, eyes widening. This is wonderful. But William felt terrified. What if Charlie hated him? I can't face him. Yes, you can. Sarah gripped his shoulders. You face my children's trauma, my cancer. You can face your brother. Emma appeared. Charlie, from the stories. We have to meet him. He's family. 2 hours later. William stood outside a Manhattan coffee shop. Through the window, a man at a corner table. Same dark hair, now gray-streaked. Same green eyes. William walked in on unsteady legs. Charlie looked up. 30 years collapsed. Billy. Charlie. Charlie pulled him into a fierce hug. I looked for you for years. Me too. They told me you died. They told me you didn't want me. Both men cried openly. They talked for hours. Charlie was Dr. Charles Mitchell, now pediatric surgeon. Married, 3 kids. I never stopped missing you, Charlie said. Every birthday, every Christmas. I'm sorry. I tried keeping us together. I know. You were a kid too. I promised to protect you. You did, Billy. Those first 5 years. That's what I remembered. I want to meet them. Charlie said suddenly, your kids. At the penthouse, Emma studied Charlie shyly. Danny announced, you Milkman's brother. I am. Know what that makes. U.S. What? Family. That evening, Christmas Eve, everyone gathered. Charlie's family from Toronto. Sarah cooking despite exhaustion. The apartment rang with life. William stood at his window later. Charlie beside him. I became a pediatric surgeon because of you, Charlie said, remembered how you took care of me, wanted to help other scared kids. Every child I've saved. That's your legacy, too. You taught me love means showing up. Sarah appeared with the children. Family photo. They gathered. Lost brothers reunited. Mother victorious over death. Children who brought them together. Say family, Emma commanded. Family later. William tucked Emma in. Best day ever. Almost. Tomorrow will be better. Why? Because we'll all be together. And the day after. Forever and always. As midnight approached, William watched snow fall. His family settled in for the night. Margaret texted, heard about your brother. Miracles do happen. He replied, especially when delivered by a 7-year-old in worn sneakers. Emma had been right. He could help. He just hadn't known she would save him right back. Sometimes investments weren't in stocks, but in fierce love of a child who refused to give up. Sometimes families were built from broken pieces that fit perfectly, and sometimes every loss was repaid with interest. Delivered by fate in worn sneakers carrying a crumpled dollar bill. Thank you, he whispered to the universe. Danny's voice drifted over. Love you, milkman. Love you too, buddy. Love you all, for the first time in 30 years. William Henderson was whole.